Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you my 33 to 36 week pregnancy update with baby number 2. I am just over 37 weeks pregnant. I said this before, but I still cannot believe how quickly this pregnancy has gone compared to the first time around. I have one more week of work left, so actually just a few days now. So this week is super busy trying to get everything done before I finish up. And I'm hoping that I'm going to have a couple of weeks of rest before the baby comes. A little bit of bonding time with my toddler Elena. But in theory, I'm full term now. Anything can happen. But I thought I'd share with you what's happened over the last 3 weeks or so. If you watched my previous updates, you will know that I had a low-lying placenta at 20-week scan. It was reconfirmed at the 32-week scan that I still had a low-lying placenta, although I had moved a lot, but still just a little bit close to the cervix opening for their liking. And so I was booked in to get another scan, or a final scan, at 36 weeks plus 4 days, so that the doctor could make a final decision on what to do, whether to have a C-section planned for me or, you know, just let me go naturally and see what happens. If you don't know much about it, it's called a low-lying placenta or placenta previa, and basically means the placenta is in some way blocking the baby's exit, and the risk is really blood loss. It can lead to hemorrhaging. You can have spotting and sort of bleeding throughout your pregnancy, although I didn't actually have any spotting or any bleeding at all. I've not had anything so far, so hopefully that will continue. But that was the kind of big thing this week. I didn't have any other midwife appointments because they decided to do everything on that same day. So I went for my scan. I was at the midwife unit for around 2 hours. I had my scan, so they did the usual checks, you know, measuring the baby's head and stomach and legs and so on, checking the kidneys, the heart, all of those things, which was all fine, although it was quite painful. I must say, lying down for that scan for about half an hour, I started to feel really dizzy, and that's the first time that's really impacted me. But I guess all of the weight just on top of my main artery was just getting a bit much, so I actually had to sit up and have some water and have a break and things, which was the first time that had happened. All the checks on the baby were fine. Baby's measuring still in the 50th percentile, so smack bang in the middle of the kind of normal range for my height. At that point, they did then try to find the location of the placenta, and they said that the baby's head had started to engage, which I was not surprised to hear because just a few days earlier, I think it was about 4 days earlier, I had so much pain down there, and it's like shooting, stabbing pains, very strange. Also having Braxton Hicks at the same time, you actually start to get a little bit nervous, but that is generally what it feels, I think, when the baby's head starts to engage. So I think that's what that feeling was. I have had a little bit more pain since, so I'm not sure whether the baby's head is now fully engaged, although the midwife did say that for second or subsequent babies, actually sometimes they don't engage completely until you go into labour, so we'll see. But yes, so I wasn't surprised to hear that the baby's head had started to engage, and they were pretty sure just from doing the Doppler that the placenta was not in the way. However, they did do another internal scan just to be sure, so this was my 3rd internal scan. If you're getting one, I would say it's absolutely nothing different to a smear test. It's probably even less painful than a smear test because the Doppler doesn't go right inside, it just sort of sits at the opening. But yeah, with the internal scan, they were able to confirm that the placenta had indeed moved out of the way and the baby's head had got down past it and not had any problems. So that was fantastic news. We went then to see the doctor, who just signed off on me going back to the low risk pathway. And then I got all my normal checks done, my blood pressure, my urine, my bloods and so on. And I haven't heard anything since, so I'm assuming that everything was okay. My blood pressure was still normal. There was a little bit of protein in my urine, so they did ask me if I'd had any sort of UTI symptoms, which I really haven't, but they said it could just be a one-off, it was a trace. So like I say, I've not heard anything else. The main concern with protein in your urine is preeclampsia. But I don't have any swelling or anything like that, despite the weather has been quite nice. So it has been quite hot, but I've not had any swelling in my hands or feet. And because I haven't heard anything from those results, I'm assuming that everything is fine. So that's great news. I had kind of resigned myself to the prospect of a C-section. I mean, millions of people get them across the globe, so I know it's not a big issue. It was more the after effects and the kind of recovery that I was concerned about. But it looks like that's not going to be an issue unless I have to have one for some reason at the very end. So at the moment I'm now scheduled on a low risk pathway, so that means that I can give birth in a central midwife unit, which is essentially a midwife-led unit where there are no doctors on hand. Obviously, the first sign of any complications, they would blue light you in an ambulance to the nearest doctor-led unit. But for now, I'm booked into the central midwife unit, which is literally 5 minutes from my house instead of an hour to the doctor one, which is fantastic. And they also said that all being well, I can get out after 6 hours if I want to. They don't push you out, but you can get out after 6 hours of giving birth. So that really appeals to me as well. So obviously, assuming I'm feeling up to it, I would like to get out sooner rather than later so that I can rest at home and introduce my toddler to my baby girl. So that's all good news. So in terms of wider symptoms, I did mention pain down there. Yes, I've got pain down there, and now that I've had that shooting, stabbing pain, since then I just got pressure again. And I had pelvic pressure before when the baby was breech. Baby moved into head down position and it was much, much better, but now I have the pressure back. I am 37 weeks pregnant now, so it's completely normal to have pelvic pressure down there. Yeah, baby's just getting into position for birth. It's most notable when I get up from sitting down for a long period of time, so I'm still working at the moment. I have a desk job in front of a laptop, not quite a sedentary position, but when I get up to kind of go to the toilet or something, that's when I really notice the pain. Also that and turning over in the night again is even more difficult than it was before, just with the weight. So that's a bit of a shame, but I have noticed that I have been sleeping more soundly. And then the only thing that's really waking me up in the night is the toilet. So I'm still having to go to the toilet regularly, although probably 2 to 3 times a night max at the moment. I have been trying not to drink too much at night. I know that you're supposed to drink loads when you're pregnant, so I'm trying to drink loads and loads during the day, but I'm trying not to overdo it just before bed, because getting up 5 times, 6 times to the toilet is just no fun. So I'm trying to minimise that, but I'm feeling like I'm sleeping really soundly in between getting up, so I think I'm really needing this sleep, and I'm feeling quite tired at night, so I really need to go to my bed. So I do feel like I need to go to my bed earlier, and I've been sleeping right through till sort of 7 in the morning anyway, so I must be needing it. So I'm really pleased to be banking my sleep a little bit, because I think the last time around when I got to this stage, my sleep was really, really, really bad. So it's good to see that it's improving just a little bit this time around. I also mentioned Braxton Hicks earlier on. I have been getting Braxton Hicks non-stop every day. Not quite non-stop, but I get them every day. Especially noticeable around about maybe mid-morning, maybe like 11 o'clock, and then around evening time, that's when I notice them the most. It's just uncomfortable. It's not really painful, but it can be a little bit painful. It's not comfortable to have your whole stomach go suddenly really tense and hard, but I have noticed that if I sort of move position, it does ease. So if I'm sitting down, obviously if I'm stuck on a conference call, there's not much I can do about it, or if I'm in a meeting. But if I'm sitting down at work and I get that mid-morning twinge and I can start to feel it coming on and everything's getting hard and uncomfortable and sore, then I'll try and get up and walk to the toilet. And I notice by the time I usually get to the toilets, it's kind of eased. So they generally say, obviously it's not the real thing if you moving position stops the contraction. So that's what I would advise if you're getting Braxton Hicks and they're getting a little bit painful. Just get up, move around, or go and lie down if you're already walking about. Definitely works for me. In terms of baby's movements, the baby still moves a bunch. In its big movements, like kind of squirming movements, and then I sometimes feel some sort of pain down there where the baby's kind of moving her head. And when she does move, because she's sitting, Elena, my previous daughter, was lying back to back, so I had back labour, which was incredibly painful. Wouldn't recommend it. But this baby is not lying back to back, so her bum sticks out just above my belly button, and so when she does move, you kind of see the bum rolling to the side and the legs coming around. Quite funny to see because my whole belly does move. So I've noticed that a lot more this time around, and I think it's just the position of the baby. But yep, squirming, moving. Because the baby's so big now, it's actually really quite uncomfortable and sometimes painful when the baby moves. But obviously it's reassuring, and I know that when the baby's head is fully engaged, there'll be a little bit less of that, although obviously you'll still get the odd leg moving, but they won't have the freedom to move quite as much then. I've also noticed the baby hiccuping, and because the baby's head is so low in my pelvis, that hiccuping sensation is quite a strange one, and you can tell it's a hiccup because it's a very rhythmic sort of gentle, it's like a gentle kick feeling, but it's very rhythmical, which is quite funny. All of these aches and pains and pressure down there, and kind of almost that feeling like there's actually a head between your legs. Like, I've read about people feeling as if the baby could just fall out, which obviously cannot happen, but I kind of know how they feel now, because it definitely feels like there's something there, which obviously there isn't, but it feels that way. All of these things have been screaming to me, get ready for the baby, and therefore I have packed my hospital bag. So I have packed the hospital bag for baby and mummy. Videos are, I think the baby's video will already be on by the time I post this. The mummy's video will be still to come. And so I've just got a list of some last minute things like my phone and my charger, my everyday makeup, that kind of thing, to shove into my bag. Obviously I'm hoping now, having had it suggested that I might only be in for 6 hours, that I don't even need to stay overnight, but we'll just have to wait and see. So I have packed for probably 2 nights, which is what I stayed in last time around. Just to be safe rather than sorry, because I don't want my husband to have to go and try and find me nursing bras and things like that he's probably going to have absolutely no clue. So I've tried to be organised, so those videos are definitely either on or coming up on this channel. I definitely feel, yeah, all these twinges are just kind of just reminding me that the baby is on her way, and actually it's time to get organised. So my next update will be my 37 week to 40 week update, assuming baby hasn't come by then. So I will see you in the next one, and I'll update you then, either with or without a baby. We'll just have to wait and see. The last thing I will say is that the midwife did tell me my due date is a Sunday the 11th of June. And she did say that I could come in for a sweep on that date if baby hadn't made an appearance by my due date. On that Sunday, they would do a membrane sweep, which would hopefully encourage me to go into labour naturally sooner rather than later. That sweep, that is exactly what I had done the last time around. They did that the day after my due date last time because Elena was measuring larger, and they thought she was actually going to be quite a big baby. She was 8.6 so she was a good size for a girl. This time around they're not expecting the baby to be particularly large, but because it's my second baby, they've got no problem with me kind of being nudged into labour, particularly because they know that worked for me last time. So that's definitely on the cards for me. I have another midwife appointment in a week's time, so I will be just over 38 weeks for my next midwife appointment, and we'll see how things are progressing at that point, but I probably will go for that sweep on the 11th of June if nothing has progressed by itself by that point. But I will update you soon. If you want to see that update and you want to meet our baby girl when she comes, please do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. You can hit that alerts button as well if you want to get an alert whenever I post a video, because like I said, my what's in my hospital bag for mum will be coming up very, very soon on this channel. But that's everything for this update, so I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. This is my 37 week now pregnancy bump. As you can see, the bump is fairly large. Basically I am full term now, so in theory baby is fully developed and just gaining a little bit more weight for the next 3 weeks, assuming she stays in there. But yeah, this is what the bump looks like now at 37 weeks pregnant.